Hi everyone, my name's Dave Betts, and today we're going to look at building chords. So last lesson and the lesson before, we really got to grips with the major scale and getting used to which notes are in which scale. But this week is really the step on from that. It's what we do afterwards. So if we start with our semitones and tones and the step up to our major scale, this is the next step up again. So what we'll do is we'll start by drawing our C major scale, which you can see on the screen now. Now, the chords that we build, the chords that are most used in Western music, are called triads, and that means that they have 3 notes. What we do is we pick which note we want to be our first, and then we add the 3rd and the 5th onto it. So if we take C and make that our number 1, we then skip the D and go to E, which is number 3, and we'll put that on top of the RC, like that. And then we'll skip the F, which is number 4, and go straight to G, which is our 5, and we'll put that on top of the C as well. And there you go, that's our first triad, and that's a C triad. And if we do the same thing with D, so we'll make D our first note, skip E, which is our second, and go to F, which is our 3rd, and stack that on top of the D. Skip G, which is our 4th note, and add A, which is our 5th note, we've got our second chord. Now, if you do that for every note in the major scale, you'll suddenly see something that looks like this. And these are all the chords in the key of C. Okay, so using the C major scale and the simple method of going root, 3rd, 5th, we've worked out all the chords that can be used in the key of C. Now, these chords differ slightly in that some of them are major and some of them are minor. Now, what does that mean? Major chords feel a lot more happy when you play them, and minor chords feel a little bit more sad. Now, if you're near a piano, you should have a go at this. Try it. Try out some of these notes and figure out whether you can guess whether they are major or minor notes. But in the meantime, there's an easy way to find out whether a chord is a major chord or a minor chord without even touching a piano, and that's by looking at the 3rd note. Okay, so the 5th note stays the same whether it's major or minor, but the 3rd note changes. And we can tell that distance because it's a certain distance away from the root. So take C, for example. C, if you look at your piano, C to E is C. It's one semitone to C sharp, 2 semitones to D, 3 semitones to D sharp, and 4 semitones to E. So it's 4 semitones away from C. Now, all major 3rd intervals are 4 semitones away from their root. So we know that this C chord is a major chord. Now let's have a look at D. D to F. D to D sharp is 1 semitone. D sharp to E is 2 semitones. And E to F is 3 semitones. So that's 1 semitone less than the major interval, which makes it a minor interval. So we know that this is a D minor chord because we're looking at that flattened 3rd interval. Now, if you go along for each chord and do the same thing, you'll figure out which chords are major and which chords are minor, and eventually it should look something a little bit like this. Now notice chord 7. Chord 7, although it says minor because it has a minor 3rd interval, it's technically not simply a minor chord, but we're going to avoid that for the moment and look at that in more detail in a few lessons to come. Just know that there is more to it than meets the eye. So there you have it. You've worked out all the major chords and minor chords in the key of C. And that's really useful. And next lesson we're going to look at the Nashville number system, which will then unlock every key to you. Now, I hope you found this lesson useful. If you did, click like or subscribe, or get in touch via Twitter or Facebook. I would love to hear from you, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch.